Are you someone looking to purchase a home, maybe not immediately, but in the near future, and wondering how do you get the money for a down payment? Well, in today's video, we're going to spend some time and talk about some things that you can do as a potential first-time home buyer to get the money to be able to purchase a home. Over the last couple of years, we've seen home prices continue to rise, and many potential first-time home buyers look at the housing market and go, I'll never be able to afford a home. The American dream is dead. How does one buy a home in this market? So I want to take some time and walk you through some experiences I've had with clients, tell you some stories about clients that I've had that have done different things to be able to purchase their first home. And in addition to that, I'll tell you what I did personally to be able to purchase my very first home when I didn't have enough money for the entire down payment. Now, something I want to point out very early in this video is that you don't need 20% down for a down payment. There's a misbelief out there that you have to have a large down payment in order to be able to buy a home, when in fact you can actually purchase a home with little to no money down. And we'll talk about some of those scenarios as we go through it, but I just want to be clear, you don't need a huge down payment to purchase a property. And more importantly, this process is about patience. This isn't a rat race to the top to see who can purchase their very first property. And you're not competing against your friends, your neighbors, anyone else. This is your process. It might be a little bit different than other people that you've known who have purchased a property. So don't get caught up in comparing yourself to others when it comes to buying a property. Please do me a favor before we dive into today's content. Hit that thumbs up and also leave me a comment. Maybe you've been trying to buy a home. Maybe you did purchase your first home and you're just watching this video. How did you go through the process? What steps did you take to be able to purchase your first home? These things could help other viewers watching this video. So do me a favor, leave it in the comments below. Now, as we go over these items that can help you with regards to thinking about down payment, I want to be really clear. All of these steps are going to require you to spend less money than you make. There's not an overnight success story. There's no overnight secret that's going to just give you the down payment. In most cases, we can talk about some down payment assistance programs here in just a minute, but for the most part, you're going to have to save money in order to get that down payment. So if you're looking for a quick fix, just an easy snap of your fingers and you're going to get the down payment, this isn't the video for you. If you want proven ways that have worked for my clients, myself in the past, to be able to purchase your first home, then do me a favor and continue watching this video. Now, as I mentioned a moment ago, the very first thing you need to do is reduce expenses. Cut ancillary things that you don't need. Go through all those subscription services that you have, the Netflixes, the Hulus, maybe the additional phone service, the whatever it is, the extra cable plan, whatever, and cut it and take that money and save it. Put it into a housing account, a separate account from your other finances, maybe a checking account or savings account that you can't touch, that you can't withdraw from. Maybe you put it into some sort of money market account where it goes in to earn additional money, but you have to be able to reduce expenses in order to start saving for that down payment. Now, this next one is one that I've had several clients do over time to be able to save the money for the down payment. And that is live with family members, sacrifice in the short term. Maybe you move out of the apartment that you're in and you go back and live with your parents, in your old bedroom or in the basement for a period of time. It's not sexy. It's not anything that you really want to talk about or tell your friends about. But what I can tell you is that I've had several friends, clients, in fact, do it over the last couple of years and have been able to save a substantial amount of money. They went from leasing an apartment that was costing them $3,500 a month to saving nearly $84,000 over the course of 2 years by living with their parents. In fact, in this case, it was the in-laws of the friend that I knew. But that $84,000 allowed them to put 10% down on purchasing a property, which they wouldn't have had the money otherwise if they didn't take that sacrifice and live with parents. Now, I know many of you are watching this video going, I don't have that option. My parents won't let me move back in, or they don't have the space, or maybe they're not local, and that's understood. So maybe you can just downsize to a smaller apartment if you're renting one. Maybe you have the 2-bedroom now, and you have to sacrifice and take the 1-bedroom that maybe is less money per month, and use that savings and put it in an account again to help save for that down payment. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you don't need a large down payment in order to purchase a home. If you're purchasing a $100,000 home, you can get away with $3,500 for the down payment. And a $500,000 home, you can get away with $17,500 with regards to a down payment. So you don't need a huge amount of money. You just need to know what the end goal is and start working towards it. Now, if you're watching this wondering, well, how do I determine the end goal? Like, how do I determine how much money I'll need? Well, it doesn't hurt to go through the pre-approval process before you're actually ready to purchase a home. This can, actually shed a lot of light on the process. It can tell you how much money you need for a down payment based on the housing prices that you're looking at. It can also kind of disqualify you, if you will, and let you know, hey, you're not in a position to buy a home because your credit is also ruined or you have something else going on. So the earlier you go through that process, the better it will help you in planning on how to get there. But if you're able to go through that process, talk to a lender early, and have that conversation about where you want to be, the lender can say, okay, if you're looking to purchase a $300,000 home, this is about what you need in order to do it. And once you have that number, it's a lot easier to work backwards and start saving towards it versus some arbitrary number that you just made up in your head. Now, if you need a lender referral, do me a favor. I'm going to put a link on the screen here. Go to that website. I will refer you to a lender that I know personally that will guide you through that process, willing to have that conversation and guide you in the right direction. Now, both of the options that we've talked about so far require quite a bit of sacrifice. Leaving the apartment, the rental that you're in now, going to live with parents, maybe even downsizing a bit, and going to a smaller apartment and taking that money and saving it. Whereas the third option is going to be also a bit controversial with a lot of people out there, and that is moving to a lesser expensive area, a more affordable area. Like, I live in Southern California and prices here are outrageous. In fact, we just reached a new high where the median home price in my county is $1 million. And so a lot of home buyers look at that and go, I'll never be able to own a home. Well, that's not true. Maybe that's true if you stay here in Southern California. It might not be impossible, but it might be very difficult. Whereas if you reconsidered maybe your living arrangements and said, hey, I'll go move to a less expensive area, which many people have done over the pandemic with migration patterns shifting and being able to work from home. A lot of people left California and said, I'm getting out of there. And I'm not throwing California under the bus. I'm just saying a lot of people have left expensive areas like California because it's more affordable in other places. And maybe that's something you need to consider. Instead of looking at home prices in California saying, I'll never be able to afford it, maybe look at the United States and figure out other places that you might want to live that have more affordable housing. In those cases, it's a lot easier to save for the down payment because it's a lot less money. The next thing I want to talk about is down payment assistance programs. Many states out there, many counties out there have assistance programs that will help you with the down payment. Now, you still have to meet the qualifications to be able to, get the loan and move forward and pre-qualify and all of that stuff. But there are states out there, counties out there that will actually give you a grant, for the down payment. Unfortunately, California doesn't really have a lot of down payment assistance programs. A lot of those programs were cut when they looked at the budget and said, we're overspending. And so the first thing they cut was down payment assistance. So if you're in California, it's tough. There's only one real program out there, CalHFA, that will help you with the down payment assistance, whereas other states like Texas and Georgia, have a lot of down payment assistance programs. So you want to make sure you're working with a lender that understands these programs and can help walk you and guide you through them. And in those cases, you might not need to come up with the money out of pocket. The down payment assistance program might actually grant you enough money for the down payment. So in that case, it could be less about you having to save for the down payment and more about knowing the programs that are out there to be able to assist you. Now, the next thing we'll talk about before the one that I've actually used myself is borrowing from your 401k. Now, I'm not talking about cashing in your 401k because that is a no-no. that, you get hit with taxes. There's a lot of repercussions to actually cashing in your 401k. In fact, I don't think you should ever do that. It is definitely a retirement vehicle that you want to have, but if you have a 401k, you can actually borrow against that money. And when you're repaying it every month, you're just repaying yourself when you pay it back. So you're just taking a loan from yourself to allow you the money up front to be able to purchase a home. So if you have a 401k out there, maybe that's something you should consider to leverage your opportunity to be able to purchase a home. And the last thing I want to talk about, and one that I did myself, is borrow money from family. Now, I know that many of you out there, again, don't have that option. Many of your family members aren't willing to lend you the money. I was fortunate enough that I had in-laws that would lend us the money. And what I mean by lend is we set up a payment plan where we were going to pay them back monthly over a 5-year period in order to repay that amount of money. Now, when it comes to qualifying for a loan, many lenders out there don't want you to have a loan from a family member. So your family member actually has to say it's a gift up front. And, I know some of you will have problems with saying that or what have you. But in this case, we said it was a gift, and it was in fact a loan from a family member. And we just repaid that money over the course of 5 years. In fact, we repaid it sooner than the 5-year period. But that allowed us to be able to purchase the property up front and actually put 20% down. We were buying here in California, my wife and I, and we didn't have enough money at the time saved up outside of equities, money in cash, to be able to purchase our first home together. So we borrowed that money from her family, and we used that money in order to be able to put 20% down to buy a house. Now, fortunately, we were in a position where we had enough money for a 10% down payment. We just didn't have enough to get rid of the mortgage insurance on the property. And in this case, we wanted to, so we borrowed that money. So, today's video, again, it's not sexy. It's not, an overnight magic pill to be able to give you money up front. But these are all things that you can apply and do yourself if you're actually looking to buy a home. There's a reason that homeowners have a 44 times greater net worth than those of renters, and it has to do with owning property. Now, I'm not telling you to go buy a property. I'm not telling you that it's always a great time to buy a property, because it's not. But I can tell you that owning real estate creates generational wealth, amongst many other things, which we can talk about in other videos. So if you're a first-time home buyer out there, just understand that you're not alone in saving money. You're not alone in it being tough in order to be able to make those sacrifices. But understand, long-term, owning real estate definitely pays dividends. Now, if you're watching this going, Jeb, I know there are zero down programs out there. I've heard of them. Do me a favor. I've filmed this video some time ago where I talk about it in detail. Let me know what you think. But for now, I appreciate you taking the time to watch. I appreciate the support. Hope to hear from you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.